What's happening, y'all? How you doing? So I just want to talk to y'all for a second. Let's talk about parents and let's talk about forgiving your parents. Now, I know this is a very touchy topic for a lot of people. And you know what? I ain't gonna lie to you. I kind of hesitate to talk about this because I know this is a very touchy topic. I know that a lot of kids and their parents don't have the best relationships, and then there's a lot of children and their parents that do have really good relationships. But sometimes I think that we get so mad at our parents that we hold grudges towards them, and we don't realize that they're humans too. And I just want to kind of go into context. So this is not going to be a short video. It might be a couple minutes, but follow me here. We have to learn to forgive our parents. One, remember that they're human too, and they've been through some things too. Like, your parents are not perfect. So they had a childhood just like you, and they had to go through some things just like you did. So sometimes when you are a parent, you just pick up your habits and your ways from your parents and bring it into bring it over to your children. I also feel like we should give our parents some grace, you know? Like, I know no parent is perfect, you know what I'm saying? I get it. But, like, sometimes I believe we're so hard on our parents and we don't ever put ourselves in their shoes. We don't ever wonder why. You know, some people get mad at their parents for not being around, but you might have a single mom that had to work 3 jobs just to take care of you and your 6 siblings. So she wasn't around because she had to provide. Now, if she would have stayed around longer and been around you most of the time, guess what? You wouldn't have much food in your mouth and you probably wouldn't have a place to stay. So she knew she had to grind to get you to have what you need. Or maybe you have a parent that's absent, that's not there and that's never been there. That's a hard one. Trust me, I'm not disregarding that. That's a hard one, to forgive a parent that just you believe that's choosing not to be there. But I do encourage you that if you can reach out to them if they're still alive and you guys can talk or whatever, ask them questions. Ask them, why was it this way? Why was it that way? Because sometimes, guys, we might have a rift between our parents because of another parent. So say, for instance, I live with my dad, right? And my dad's always talking negative about my mom. And, you know, so now I have a negative perspective of her because my dad speaks that way about her. And I don't have my own perspective. However, one day, you know, maybe I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to sit down and talk to my mom, go have lunch or whatever. And we sit and talk. And my mom's telling me why she don't come around. And maybe it's because my dad wouldn't let her come around. Or maybe it's because she felt like if she came around, she'd mess up my life. Whatever the case may be, it is so good to be able to sit and talk. Sit down with your parents and see where they're coming from. Now, I'll say this. It's not always easy because a lot of parents, they don't want to hear what you have to say. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want you to try to come at them. But really, they don't realize you're trying to get something off your chest. But I'll say this. One thing I've done with my mom, you know, we had our issues when I was growing up. But as I became an adult, I had to move back in with my mom. And straight up, I just was like, you know, I asked her questions. You know, there's things that I went through. There's some things I went through as a kid. I wish there was a flash on here. There's some things I went through as a kid. And I wanted to know why, you know, my mom, why? There's just some things, and I wanted to know why. And I prayed first. I asked God, Lord, please be in charge of this conversation, whatever. I prayed. And when I did, I asked God to be in charge of the conversation. I asked God to touch my mom's heart so she's receiving of what I'm saying. I asked God to touch my heart that I'm receiving and that I have an ear to hear. And I asked God to be in the midst of the conversation so that we're not offending each other. And I promise you, I got so much relief and healing from asking my mom questions about why this and that. Because my he's dead, so I can't ask him anything. But I could ask my mom, you know? But I see her in such a different light now that I have more understanding of her and who she is and her childhood, what she had to sacrifice. So I encourage you to sit down with your parents if you can get a chance. And talk to them and ask them why this or why that, or what their childhood was like, or, you know, because a lot of times parents they thug it out. They don't even tell you what they went through. They don't even tell you what they struggle with. Guys, I want you to understand something. If your parents ever hurt you, 9 times out of 10, their parents hurt them. If their parents hurt them, 9 times out of 10, their parents hurt them. Really what needs to take place is healing. And it might start with you. You might be the one that has to start the healing process for your family. And you might have to be the one that be like, look, you know, doing the hard things, right? Peeling off that Band-Aid and just being real about how you feel. You could tell your parent, like, no, your mom, your dad, whoever may raised you, how you feel. Get it off your chest in a respectful way. But I just think communication is important. And listen, you might have a parent that doesn't want to hear what you have to say. They don't want to listen. Write them a letter. Or maybe an email. But try to find a way to get to them, because it's really important that you get this stuff off your chest. But I want to say that they're not perfect. God didn't give them a manual when they had you. All right? Some of them was probably teenagers when they had you. Some people was like 12 years old when they had kids. Oh, it's getting dark. And I can go in the house, y'all, but I really wanted to sit in the car because I like it in here. I don't know why. But let me hurry up because it's starting to get a little bit too dark. So anyways, there was no manual. Like, your parents didn't get a manual when they had you, okay? So some of them are doing the best that they can, and some of them didn't even try at all, because some of them just don't know how to be a parent. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it's an excuse, and I'm not saying that, oh, let them get away with how they treated you and how they treat you. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that, like, try to see where they're coming from and don't bash them so much. Your parents, you know, God uses them to get you to a certain point in your life. And after you get to a certain point, it's up to you. When you become an adult, it's up to you. And maybe your parents didn't teach you everything in the world, but you know, you learned it from somewhere. I'm sure you learned something from a teacher, or from your friend's parents, or from your grandparents, or from your dad's side, your mom's side. You're not going to learn everything from your parents. You're going to learn stuff from other people. But it's up to you of what path you decide to take. You don't have to take a negative path because you and your parents didn't have a good relationship. You can still make great choices. You can still be a great person. You can still be a great parent if you have children now. You don't have to go down your parents' footsteps. You just have to unlearn their ways. If there's ways that they had that you no longer want in your life, unlearn them. But I encourage you to go on a healing journey and, like, you know, talk to your parents. Really try to see where they're coming from. Because a lot of times I feel like we don't understand our parents. We don't get it until we have our own kids. And sometimes, another thing is this. We don't get it till we lose them. Please, I encourage you. Don't allow yourself to finally realize what you wanted to say to your parents, how much they meant to you after they died. Because you can't pick up the phone and call them again. You cannot. No matter how much you want to, you will not be able to. My dad has been passed away since 2009. Do you know how I'm 20? No, I'm so used to being in my 20s. I just turned 30. And I miss my dad so much. And I want to talk to him. And I want to call him. And I wish that I could have done this and that. I just can't. All I can do is learn from my mistakes and be better towards my mom. So, you know, think about that. What would you do? Like, if they were to pass away today, would you be okay with the fact that you mistreat them? Would you be okay with the fact that you disrespect them? Would you be okay with the fact that you don't want to spend no time with them? A lot of y'all are mad at your parents, and I get it, because I've been there. But I encourage you to forgive. And even if they're still doing things that hurt you, right? I'm still encouraging you to forgive so that you can be free. Because when we are holding on to bitterness and anger and things that people did and resentment, guess what? They have power over us, and we have bitterness, and we're walking around with bitterness, and you don't have to. You know, everyone goes through some things. You don't have to walk around with bitterness. So, like, I encourage you to forgive, even if they still ain't treating you right. Still forgive them so that way you don't have that weight on your chest. That's on them. That's between them and God. God has to deal with them, but you do your part. So please forgive your parents, y'all, and try to understand where they come from. All right, listen, if you haven't already, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Be sure to join the team. Also, my social media, my social media is in the description below. Make sure you guys check it out. Be sure to, subscribe to my other, social media and whatever. Check out the reels. I love y'all. If you guys have any topics that you want me to speak on and I have the knowledge of it, or the Lord puts it on my heart, I'll speak of it. But y'all have a blessed day. All right, bye.